Good evening and welcome to Drakkenheim. This is the Dungeon Dudes weekly Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live stream campaign. My name is Monty Martin, running our campaign as Dungeon Master.
And I'm Callie McLaughlin, playing Wilhelm Wolfsbane, the human swashbuckler. And we're joined today by our good friends.
Jill Denitis, playing Rudy Whitaker, the Shifter Eldritch Knight.
And Joe O'Gorman, playing Wrath, the Aasimar Warlock.
And thank you for joining us once again. If you are just tuning in for the very first time, Callie and I post new videos on our every Thursday on our YouTube channel, where we cover everything Dungeons & Dragons, including advice for players and guides for Dungeon Masters. We just posted part 2 of our video series on ranking the cleric subclasses. We're going to be going on to the druids in another couple weeks and going through all of them, talking about all the subclasses in D&D. So check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/dungeondudes.
Also, you can join us Tuesday nights when we record the campaign live on Twitch. Check us out from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/dungeon_dudes. You can also watch the video episodes of the show on YouTube. And we're pleased to announce that Dungeons of Drakkenheim is now available as an audio-only podcast, which is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. So if you haven't checked out Season 1 of this show, make sure to check it out as either a podcast, or you can also find it on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I was checking out the other day. We are coming up on the charts now with the podcast. So a big thank you to all of you out there who have watched the show on podcast platforms. We're glad that so many folks have enjoyed this, because we're not sure how many people would actually download us and take them with us in their pockets on their devices. And it's really good to know that people, whether you watch us live on Twitch, on YouTube, or on podcast platforms, we're really glad knowing that you can enjoy our content and our wonderful, wonderful, crazy campaign in so many different ways. So big thank you there. With that, though, let us return to the shadows.
Drakkenheim is no more. For 15 years, we foolishly believed the madness and mayhem of that crumbling city was confined to the ruins. We were wrong. Insidious horrors have crept out of the shadow of Drakkenheim into a world unprepared for such nightmares. Tales of strange magic, swirling haze, and unspeakable terrors echo through the villages and towns surrounding that accursed place. Now, the Dusk Wardens, a new band of heroes, are tasked with driving out the seeping tendrils of the spreading darkness before it takes root.
Welcome back to the shadows of Drakkenheim. When last we left our heroes, they had returned from a truly harrowing voyage deep into the Elvenmire swamps and wildernesses of the wetlands, where they came upon an ancient ruin and caves of unfathomable horror and a creature of truly alien terror. With that behind them, and several survivors in tow, our heroes, the Dusk Wardens, have now trekked back across the Elvenmire wetlands to return to Schaffberg to survey just what kind of impact their actions have had. The strange power which held the people of Schaffberg in thrall seems to have been broken, though the memories of what the people did while they were under the sway of this otherworldly creature will haunt them the rest of their lives. Our heroes now return to a place where many of this began, the small cottage home of Linus Ram, the wizard of the Amethyst Academy, whose strange, not so much disappearance, but loss of contact with his compatriots in the academy was the catalyst for our hero's involvement. There in the small cottage, the smell of freshly brewed tea hanging in the air, mixing with a rather unappetizing porridge. Our heroes speak with the elderly wizard, joined by the two elves whose advice and counsel they sought earlier as well, Lorwyn and Donnell. As Linus pours the warm mugs of tea for each of you and steeps through the leaves, he begins to say, "Well, it must have been something else, I tell you. There was a point, well, late in the evening, only about a week ago. I knew it. Something must have happened. It was like all the folk in town just suddenly woke up from a nightmare, like they were all sleepwalking. All of a sudden, folk that I was hiding from, keeping shelter from here in town, was like their normal selves just suddenly woke up again."
First of all, Linus, excellent job cleaning up your cottage. When we left a few weeks ago, it was rather in disarray, and I suppose either you are an excellent cleaner or you use some sort of magic, but it's good to see that you are back on your feet with your gear. And yes, the things that we encountered were horrible, and I'm afraid to ask, but how many people in this town survived? Have we taken account of the numbers? What was the outcome?
Lorwyn, the elven woman who, along with Donnell, is here as well, she speaks up and says, "Well, it wasn't Linus's magic. It was a bit of elven magic called elbows and hands that cleaned this place up. We couldn't very well let the bodies that you left behind stay here, but yes, dozens of people have died in this town, but many more have survived because of you."
Well, that's good to hear. We were worried. We didn't know what kind of state we'd be coming back to after there was a mixed batch of reactions after we done away with this mind-controlling puppet master who's had their claws in this town for too long.
I'll admit, many of the folk of the town didn't really trust me all that much before all this went down, I suppose. Being a mage, it comes with the territory. Can't speak too much better for our elven friends either. We're outsiders here, you understand. And these small-town folk, well, they take care of each other and they take care of their own, but I don't think there has ever been anything like this for all of them before.
I mean, with the losses and the damages, is there anything we might be able to do to help make things better here? I know that we've eliminated the threat, but are the people here going to be okay? Are you've been assigned Schaffberg as your location. With your gear back, are you going to be able to watch over these people, or can somebody from the academy make sure that, despite our best efforts, the creature that we fought in the Elven ruins, it disappeared? I don't think it was destroyed. I think it left. Is there a chance that we can have some academy eyes on the town to make sure that this creature doesn't start up again?
Well, I can't speak too much of the interest of the academy in the town itself, but when I give my report back to the academy and ring them up. I imagine that they'll keep me here just to look over, well, to make sure that nothing else is stirring over in them ruins.
I'm sure there's plenty of things that you'd want to investigate over there. I mean, Wrath, I'm sure you got a few samples on the way back, but there's a matter a lot more that you may want to take a look at and investigate over there to see if what that thing left or any indication about why it chose that spot in particular.
Domhnall stirs, and he's been brooding in the corner for a while, his arms crossed and his brow furrowed. And the elven warrior speaks up and says, "Ghosts of the past, haunting up again. These are strange times, and these places that once marked the spots in your world where our people crossed through, there's more places like that. In ancient times, well, by human reckoning, for our people it was only but a generation ago, that place was called Bleak Moon Tower. There's at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 other such places scattered throughout Westamar.
Do you happen to know where they're at?
Lorwyn turns and says, "There's at least one along the coast, the Crystal Coast, I believe you call it. One, I think, further up north as well. They were places where our parents and grandparents came through into your world. They marked a passage and are, for us now, well, they're like the gravestones marking the life that we left behind."
With my proficiency in history and my ability to speak fluent Elven, is there a chance that I know a little bit, like when they're saying this, am I kind of clicking into like, oh yes, I know about this, or is this...
The knowledge that the elves came from another world is relatively common. But the details are very sparse. And something that what you do know is that most elves say that their ancient mage priests and their druid kings foresaw some great disaster that was going to befall their world and directed what people they could convince to leave the world that they came from, and they came here. There's some talk that our world is not the first world or even the only world that the elves arrived on.
Mentioning these towers, the place we went was somewhat of a crypt. Do these towers tend to be above and below ground? Were there pieces missing from the tower that we discovered?
The Lorwyn continues, "My people, when we build things, rarely build things underground. It's likely that the tower sunk deep into the swamps itself. I've never visited the other towers in Westamar, so I don't know what state they would be like."
Hopefully they're not as energetic as the one that was here, because for what you say is a grave to your past, it's a mighty restless area, and I'm worried about how that would affect the areas around them, as we saw this one attract such a strange creature from another place.
The elves look at each other and turn back, and they say, and Lorwyn says, As much as I'd like to believe otherwise, it's probably unlikely. The towers were built at places where crossings from the Shadowlands and the Fae were possible and strong already. They were built to be places of crossing. They were built to be bridges. And there's a reason why bridges get built in certain places over rivers. The shortest point between two banks of a river, that's where you build a bridge.
Well, it sounds like we may need to put these towers on our to-do list. Now, it might be important that we relay this information to our contact, River, at the Amethyst Academy. When we left Tearhaven, she told us to head through Schaffberg, locate her missing contact, Linus, that would be you, and you have been well located and equipped to continue conversing with the Academy. So, despite the fact that it went far off the rails that we were expecting, it seems that Schaffberg is back in order. Next, we were supposed to head to Todsfeld, where she gave us a coin to stay with the Duke, and then down to, I believe, Dransmond, where we will be meeting back up with her, because there's issues apparently all along the river. Now, it sounds like if these towers are through points, they could be a source of other issues as well if creatures are coming through. Do we assume then that the connection between Delirium and these towers is this rock that we've been seeing somehow amplifying the bridge? Is it making it... Wrath, am I...
Wilhelm, I can only agree. If these towers have stood for generations, at least in human lives, and they only are becoming a problem now, the most recent event to sully our land is the meteor. It only makes sense that this meteor has caused some kind of reaction with these portals between worlds.
Is there then... We've heard of issues flowing along the river from Dransmond through Todsfeld, Schaffberg. That's what we were investigating. Is there a tower known near Dransmond, or is this a separate issue?
To the library!
The Lauren responds, again, I only know that there was one along the Crystal Coast. Whether that's closer to these human towns you speak of, I don't know. I've never been there myself. But it's possible. If it still stands, most people might think it was just a ruined watchtower or a lighthouse of some kind.
We have to find a map of the towers, where they might be, and compare it against a newer map of our world on some kind of see-through paper. That way we can create some kind of updated map where the towers would be in our time.
I also think that, if this has any correlation to what's been happening here, well, there might be some news about some strange happenings along the coast that might bring us to where we may find a tower if this is what's causing it. I feel like the meteor or this delirium may have lit the flame in these areas, attracting all sorts of beasts and things to cross over, which may be what's branching out into all these other little towns, causing trouble. What I'm worried about is making sure we clean up here first before we go on. We may have gotten Linus to be sorted out, but what about the Flame Keepers here?
It is probably important that we check on some of the locale and make sure that they are either healed or
on
otherwise.
the mend.
given what happened to a few of the people in the Elven ruins, it concerns me to think that perhaps the Flame Keepers may not be in very good condition if they are alive at all.
Linus speaks up. There's a good number of folk that aren't doing too well at all. Some of them have been in bed for days on end. Others are just taken sick, white like ghosts, and other folk just not doing too well at all. Many of them having nightmares and still screaming, thinking of the things they'd done. The poor folk that used to run the tavern, and they're... well, someone will have to call up and see if they have any family. But the Reeve, Zachary, he seems to be on the mend. I don't know about the Flame Keepers, though. I haven't gone up that way yet. But if you head up to the chapel, you could see on them. Seems like everything's fine at the Warped Wheel. The folk there weren't affected. There's just another... Seems like now we have a good sense of it that... Well, almost half the town was afflicted.
Such a shame.
Were they able to receive their valuables, their personal items? We brought back a hefty sum of lost and found.
Well, I suppose though that would have been the sheriff's job to sort out the constables, but gotta say there ain't a sheriff anymore.
That's what you think. And I, John, we should appoint a new sheriff.
Well,
Did you just turn into the sheriff to tell us that? Raph, I understand. Actually, I don't understand. I'm just going to outright say it. He died recently.
Yes, he is. I plan to see his widow and comfort her.
I'm not sure it's a good idea for you to go adopting his face. It's fairly well known to most folks that he's dead.
Your advice is taken, Linus. Thank you.
Now, when we were heading over, to the Elvenmere wetlands, we did send a bunch of folks away to make sure they weren't caught up. We may want to send a message to them, let them know they can make their way back now, safe.
They've arrived back. We brought them back with us.
Perfect. All right.
So I think, by the sounds of it, we should check on the Flame Keepers. We're the most properly equipped to do so in case anything's come out of hand. We might stick around for a night or two to make sure that everything's okay here. And then, I suppose, we need to stick to what we told River we were going to do. But once we make contact with her, let her know about these towers and see if we can add that and how relevant it is that we investigate them. And I turn to the elves and I ask, do you happen to know if the elves kept any records, if there was a place that we could find specifics on these towers?
Our people have records, of course. But the few elves have stayed in Westamar, even on the continent. Most of our holdings now are in the lands of Sky. We're travelers here ourselves. So as far as records, it's possible that some transcriptions might have fallen into human hands and been carried down through your scholars, but amongst us, the only other elves that tend to dwell with any commonality amongst within here are usually found within the Amethyst Academy. There's a few half-elven families throughout Westamar as well that we know of, but they're far removed from their roots.
Then it sounds like, again, our best interest is to meet back up with River in Todsfeld or Dransman and see if she can get us any more information on these towers. That might be our best choice.
Potentially elves of the academy.
Linus speaks up. Very true. It might be possible that there's a scholar that has some records on that we could pull up, or we'll see.
Linus, would you be able to look into that as well? Perhaps we don't need River. If you now have the ability to contact the Academy, it might be something that we can do, hopefully.
I can send them a message and we can see, and perhaps we'll be able to find some more information through that. It'll get the ball rolling, but it might be a few days yet before I hear back from anybody across the whole guild.
Is just a quick question: is this our first day back in Schaffberg? Like, have we just arrived, or is this like? Have we?
You arrived yesterday. You've had at least one hot meal and good rest.
Okay,
right?
That was a concern of mine.
Todsfeld is how many days away from Schaffberg?
From Schaffberg, well, let's pull up our map here. So you are all located in Schaffberg right now, and so traveling the distance there along the road, it's about 160 kilometers, and with a good click. Traveling along the road from Dransman to Todsfeld to Leukton, which then goes down to the Free City in the south and into the lands of Caspia and Illyria. That's a well-maintained road, and so you can, with a good clip, if you put in a full day of travel and really beat the pavement, you could make it there in 4 days. A more leisurely pace would probably be about a week.
All right, that might give us enough time for Linus to at least send a message, and if he wants to send any information forward onto Todsville, then at least we'll get it when we get there.
Where are we due to meet River?
She told us that she may contact us in Todsfeld, but we could stay with the Duke there. For all I know, though, she did say to continue on to Dransmund, which she very well could meet us there. So I don't really know. She's very mysterious, isn't she? She kind of just said, be on your way and I'll meet up with you. Go to Schaffberg, Todsfeld, and then down to Dransman. That's all I got. So
Wrath, has she always been this mysterious?
Always. She doesn't wear as many faces as I do, yet she keeps to herself. And I believe she has secrets. Although I trust her. And her task is of great importance to the Academy. It is our duty, our privilege, to investigate this and rid this land of this evil as ambassadors of the Academy.
I would expect that you'd be able to catch up with her in Dransman. We have a small enclave there as well amongst the Academy that she would be able to stay at. It's one of the few places where we have a little bit more support. The Duke of Todsfeld, less so.
Well, perhaps, God's willing, our stay in Todsfeld is much more pleasant than our stay in Schaffberg. And one of those survivors that we pulled out of the ruins, they were royalty from Dransman, and they had some information for us that I think we need to address as well about Dransman possibly being into some sort of shipping of delirium.
Yeah, Verona von Baden and her people have taken up at the Warped Wheel, so they've found lodgings there, and so in the interim, you may be able, if you did want to go speak with her and her people, you'd be able to find them there.
Well, what say you? Master Rudy. Wilhelm. I'm Wilhelm. Wrath. Forgot my own name. Rudy
An
Wrath.
extra day of rest.
It's all that stuff you're smoking, Wilhelm. You've
The
been
finest,
using.
the finest pipeweed in Shire. In the Shire. In Schaffberg.
You're in
Whatever.
Westfall. Do you know where you are?
I'm in Westmar.
Westmore.
You need to sit down, Wilhelm. Maybe we should take it from here to have a nice rest. I know you've been through a lot.
It's been a hard few days.
You're just out of it.
Say we go check out the
What is in that
Flamekeepers and make sure they're all right, and maybe go talk to our guests at the Warped Wheel and head out and start to make our way. I think we've done our job here.
I feel
Sounds
confident.
like berries.
That the Flamekeepers with Linus together can rebuild this community.
Well, the Flamekeepers might not be around. That's what we need to investigate.
One of them had a giant head last time we saw them. Rudy, you remember, correct?
Yes, I do. I do.
You,
I do.
That might be a problem.
if their head is that big, we must make it smaller. Rudy, would you be able to assist me in the surgical proceedings?
I mean, I'm no surgeon, but I can use my axes for plenty of cutting.
That is what I was alluding to.
We've seen your surgical practice, and it's efficient in the right circumstances.
Very well. Having completed your business with and finished your tea, do you want to continue discussing anything with Linus and Lorwyn and Donald, or do you want to check in at the Warped Wheel or at the Chapel of St. Irene?
It sounds like Linus will be reaching out to the Amethyst Academy, and if he could send a message through... Is there a contact in Toddsfeld? Could he get a message to us in Toddsfeld?
He would be able to contact you directly.
Okay.
Linus knows the sending spell, so he would be able to contact you and send messages in a limited capacity back and forth through the sending spell.
Good, then I think that we're good here, unless Rudy and Wrath, unless you had anything else. But I think we have a clear-cut idea on what's happening next. And
Yeah, we do have to keep moving, and I think we know what we have to do. And knowing this new information about the towers makes our next steps much more obvious.
Yes. So, do you guys... Should we check out the tavern first, or should we take care of the pressing concern of the Flamekeepers? That probably sounds better. I wish I could go for an ale instead, but it sounds like there's one last thing that we need to check out, and it is our duty
I'd
to
say
make sure that this town is safe.
using the word Preston makes it probably the first thing we should do.
Well,
All right, let's head over.
I think we should
Let's-
head to the chapel.
let's see what's stirring at the chapel.
Okay. Heading across Schaffberg, the town feels very different in tone from how it was prior to all of these events. But outwardly, you might not notice. Many of the people in town are still keeping themselves indoors. Many of them are in shock. And so what you can see is that within the town, there is some hustle and bustle of those who were not afflicted by this creature. There's groups of people that are going from home to home, bringing loaves of bread, and in some cases some beer and water and some drinks and what herbs and remedies they can to the people who are now suffering in various ways. In some cases, families themselves were split in half, with some family members afflicted and some members not, and so everyone is coming to terms with all this. As you do come up through the town, though, there is you are approached as you cross the town by a rather plain-looking woman, and she comes up to the three of you as you cross the town and say, "It was you three that did this, right?"
We are responsible for saving the town.
Good clarification, Wrath.
I'm Frida. I'm Donovan's sister. Thank you for saving him.
Is he doing all right?
He never mentioned you.
Wrath.
She didn't. He didn't.
His mind was altered. That fair enough. He's not lying.
There's a lot of folk who have lost family, who've lost friends, and knowing what had happened to him, I'm just glad he's back. Thank you.
Well, we just doing our duty, ma'am, and trying to make sure we could bring as many of your family members back as possible. Fortunately, this was a dear tragedy to your town. It's going to take some time to rebuild.
If you need anything, my other brother, Stefan, is coming too. He runs one of the local stores over here. If there's anything that you need on your way out, if you're staying, just stop by. We'll get you anything you need. We don't have much, but it's what little we can offer.
Rita, may I ask you a question? How are the people recovering? You seem to have a pulse on the town. Are the people managing?
Stefan, my other brother, he's managing okay. His wife and their children are not doing too well, though. There's a few others, the blacksmith and the rest of them, they're just horrified at what happened to their boys. I think they ran afoul of the three of you, didn't they?
It was a complicated situation that we very much regret, but given the circumstances, I hope the people of Schaffberg understand that there was little we could do to survive but to fight our way out.
There's some folk that... A lot of folks say it's like waking up from a nightmare, but into another one. Realizing that all that stuff you thought was just a dream was real. Seeing your family die, do things that you never thought they could ever do. I think that maybe one day they might thank you. But right now I'd steer clear.
Of course.
Fair enough.
As long as you let them know it's... As much as it was the faces of their family doing those things, it wasn't them.
Are you going up to the chapel?
Yes.
Making our way over there, yes.
No one's been up there since this all ended. The doors are all shut. The Flamekeepers aren't answering us.
I'm worried what kind of condition they're in.
I am worried as well, and I'm worried that there still might be some remnants of the curse upon this town, and if we have to deal with it, again, I just hope the townsfolk understand in time, and it's respectable to assume that not all the townsfolk are going to like what has occurred here and may see us to blame as much as some may look to us as heroes for what we've done here, but others may look to us as the villains. And, I mean, rule number 37, take the blame when it is yours to take, and there are many of these townsfolk who fell to our swords and sorcery. And that's something we're going to have to live with. And if we go up there to that church, it might have to happen one last time, depending on what we find.
Well, flame be with you when you head up that way.
And also with you.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Frida.
Okay. Are you going to head up that way, or did you want to go somewhere else?
I think we're going to head up that way.
Did we get a long rest?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It took you several days to get back to Schaffberg entirely, so you have had many rests.
I've had time to call Bruce back. Then
I was going to say, I assume Houdini is back.
I wouldn't have lasted very long without his guidance and companionship.
Okay. Yeah, you would definitely have time to call back your familiars and all that fun stuff. all the folk
really
that you need.
Yes.
Bruce! Yes, indeed. Okay. So you head up to so you go traveling from the south end of town around the little lake that the town is built around, heading back up past the pair of taverns and over towards the northern end of town where the Chapel of St. Irene is located. It's a stone chapel of the Sacred Fire, and what is unique about it is that it has a walled courtyard in front of it with a garden and a lake before it. Earlier you had snuck in and underneath into the chapel grounds below and found all the goings on in the crypts underneath that were connected to a tunnel leading outwards. So you do know that there is an underground entrance to this building as well. There's also the front door too.
As we approach, I'm going to put my hood up.
Important.
Me too.
Should we approach through the secret entrance? The one that they took Rudy out of. The one we traveled through into the dungeon where they were keeping the prisoners.
Do you mean the entrance by the swamp?
Yes. The townsfolk, and Monty, if I'm wrong, correct me, said that they have noticed that the place has been boarded up and no one has seen the Flamekeepers since the reversal of the incident.
So then who boarded it up is the question.
Was it boarded or just closed?
Just closed, barred.
So who barred it? The town, probably? Or no, nobody's been out this way.
As they say, there's a courtyard with a gate that leads into the grounds. That gate has been barred. And they
by the town?
No, not by the town.
On the inside.
It's been barred from the inside.
We could infiltrate and take over from the main entrance, or using our knowledge of the place, we can sneak in the back door.
Maybe the back door, but I don't know how much danger I'm really anticipating from this as it settled down. I'm more worried about their health and that they're sick and they're dying. They may need someone to help them out.
What do you think, Wilhelm?
It's possibly best to take precautions if we're worried that... Now, there's two sides to this, and both of you are representing those sides. There's the side of this that all the people seem to have either come to or ripped themselves to shreds. There doesn't seem to be anybody left with
not a lot of middle ground with this disease.
Yeah. So I'm expecting we're either going to find the Flamekeepers have destroyed themselves or are in the process of healing as best they can. But out of anybody, they were the most afflicted, it appeared.
Well, at least
So-
Aldahad, I believe, was the name of the one that was extremely afflicted. Donna? There
are two Flamekeepers, Flamekeeper Dana and Flamekeeper Adelheid. And Flamekeeper Adelheid had lost all her hair and had like this bulging cranium.
Dana was somewhat regular looking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm more worried about if Dana's doing okay, but Adelheid, I don't know.
I trust your judgment, Rudy. Do
you want to
go over the fence?
Yeah. Do you want to barge in the front door, or do you want to, or do you want to go in through the tunnel that you are aware of?
I wonder for a second.
I'm a barger. I don't know.
Rule number 46: always look for an alternate entrance. Perhaps there's another entrance into the cathedral here other than those two. One was a secret entrance, one is the main entrance, but surely most churches have a back door or side door or windows that we could investigate through before we go barging through the door to see if there's anything out of sorts.
Yes.
Perimeter.
Most chapel, the Chapel of St. Irene is like many others of its kind. It has tall, thin stained glass windows that you could use to break through if you did want to break in through the windows.
I have one final thought.
Such
Yes.
artwork.
Yes, I think checking the windows would be a fantastic idea. There may be someone that is or considers themselves responsible for their actions or for these things, these events. They may attempt to flee through this secret entrance.
You're right. Yeah.
We should be prepared for that.
And if somebody does flee, we shouldn't jump to conclusions and assume they're evil. There is a lot of guilt and grief going around this town right now that could lead people to actions that might seem unusual. But before we jump to the conclusion of remaining evil in this town, we should first assume that perhaps they are just fleeing because of their grief and guilt. And that would be the safer way. We want to protect these people and bring them hopefully some semblance of peace before we depart.
I've learned this from you. I was quick to destroy the plague, and a simple healing potion seemed to be all that was needed. I should not be too rash in my decision making. I would give these people a chance, especially since the interdimensional creature has left. It seems its hold has weakened. That is a good thing to think about going into this well home. Maybe and after speaking to Frida, the Academy gives us many powers, but it's not our job to use them recklessly.
Wrath, I place a hand on your shoulder. After weeks, months of traveling together, it is good to see you finally reveal yourself as what you are, and that is a good man.
I will still kill those who need to be killed.
Okay. We were almost... yeah, that's fair.
Two steps forward, enough. One step back.
I understand where you're coming from, and perhaps I need a little bit of that attitude sometimes to know that when push comes to shove, we might need to fight our way out of some situations that I was unprepared for. So, learning all around, friends. And Rudy, I mean, you're just our guiding light. Just keep doing what you're doing, please.
I'm scared of you, Rudy, and your axes.
I'm proud to have you leading us.
All right.
Onward.
Let's do this. Let's go. Sorry, what did we decide? We were going to do a perimeter check first to see if there's an alternate entrance.
Yeah, can I do like a wide perimeter check to see if there's any other doors or entrances?
Yeah, absolutely. So here is the map of the area. You all have been in here before because you've gone through the courtyard, so you know what the general layout of the courtyard area is. So I just put your tokens on the map, but that's not the gate is closed and barred.
Okay.
So it has a wrought iron gate. That is then covered through with wooden planks, and so that has been closed and barred from the other side. The whole thing is a stone fence around the outer perimeter, and then there's the garden of trees and the small pond in the field above. Then there is the actual chapel itself, which is a large stone chapel. Like most chapels of the Sacred Fire, it has a curved nave at the back. So this area up at the back of the chapel has several large stained glass windows depicting the saints of the Sacred Fire. There's also a few along in here. You do remember that along the sides here, the central area is the actual chapel, with the pews where all the worshippers go before the altar. And then there were two smaller rooms off to the left and right, with this room on the west side having entrance to the crypts below, which was connected back to the passage. And you can I hope you can all see very clearly with what I've revealed where the windows are here. Mm-hmm. Right, and so the windows that are here, and here would lead into the side room. Note that there's also windows in the front as well, and then the main entrance here, which has a pair of double doors which are closed. It is otherwise a stone building that comes up to a high peak, slate rooftops with the standard chimneys that are found on all of the chapels of the Sacred Fire.
As I do my perimeter, are all the windows stained glass, or are there any that are standard windows that could be pried open?
All of the windows are stained glass windows of some shape or form. Some of them are larger than the others, and the exceptions to that are the ones that are not particularly well decorated and ornate are the ones that are off the side rooms. Right, the ones at the back are the most ornate looking ones, depicting some of the highest saints and their battles of ancient days. Whereas the ones along the sides, these may be more personal chambers or personal quarters that are off to these sides. So the windows themselves are more of just a glass design of spiral patterns and sort of a mosaic rather than actually depicting a saint.
But all of them are like pretty artsy in their make, and they aren't openable. Like they can't be open like a standard window.
The ones in the sides here. They have portions that would open, but the construction of them is such that it's not enough for someone to. It's enough to let air in to ventilate, but not enough for a person to climb through. Right? Again, if you break the window, you can get through.
Oh, but they're so pretty.
I think it's a shame if we destroy any of these. Now, question is, do we want to go and try to look in a window at the back, or do you want to be tossed over the wall? How tall is the wall?
The wall itself is approximately 15 feet high.
Oh yeah, we could get you all over that.
Yeah,
I could easily jump that with a little boost. But should we peer through one of the windows first?
Let's go in the front.
Oh, well, okay, Rudy, will you
come around?
Will you boost me?
I say let's get into the courtyard and see if there's some side windows we can look at, and then at least we have an entrance if we need to, if we can't see anything. I like get ready with my hands. And
can I take like a running and then step off of Rudy's hand, and I'm going to try to like parkour over top.
Give me an acrobatics check, yeah.
You get help? You get the help?
Yeah, with advantage from Rudy helping you.
That's going to be a 24.
We've done this.
You're
before.
standing on with the leap. You kind of Rudy pushes you upwards, and you scamper up the wall, and you're standing on top of the wall itself. Within a quick grasp, I'm just going to position you over here, Wilhelm, and I'm going to put Wrath and Rudy on the other side, and Wilhelm, you could very easily leap over to that tree and use that as a way to climb down if you needed to, or jump down as well.
Ooh, me
Wait,
up.
let's help. I was gonna say, get Wrath up there first. Here, Wrath. You don't have to do a run and jump, but I can at least like boost you and grab him.
I hold on to a branch from the tree and reach my hand down to help Wrath as he gets boosted up.
Okay.
And then Rudy, I lower a hand, and I'm sure you can do a running.
The both of us can grab you. 1, 2, 3.
Hurrah!
All right. The three of you are up. You stand out over the courtyard, which is untamed and completely untended. It's possible this was once a very beautiful garden, perhaps even with a variety of vegetables and flowers that were grown in here to allow people who were to contemplate the natural beauty of nature that is preserved thanks to the sheltering walls of the sacred fire. Yet now it's just an overgrown mess.
I hope whoever is inside this building is keen to do some lawn care.
I think they need to worry about their own health first, and then the health of their establishment would probably be best in order.
But a good environment promotes good health. And I leap and grab the tree and start climbing down.
Okay.
I also leap and thump onto the ground.
I timidly like climb to the edge and like sit down on the edge of the wall and then like slide, and it kind of hurts my wrist, and I and I fall into Rudy's arms.
Like bridal style, carry you for a few steps and then drop you.
As Wrath is dangling and trying to get down, I'm going to approach the pond here. It probably looks like just a pond, but I'm just going to take a gander at it to see if anything unusual or peculiar catches my eye about
Especially after your last time you went into water.
There is not much in this pond, actually. Recent rainfall has soured it somewhat, and some algae is growing on top of it. But the bottom of the pond, this is not a natural pond; it's human-made. But at one point, it might have had fish in it, but it is, aside from the plant life and the growing on top of it, is absent of life.
I can honestly say in the last few months I have had very few good experiences with ponds.
I want to avoid it then.
Shall we check one of these windows?
Let's walk around this way, maybe keep under cover.
Yeah, we're
Wrath,
going
where are you?
to quietly approach this wall of the cathedral.
I can do quiet now.
Okay. So as you approach the terrace out the front, here it up at the front then is this is a large stained glass window depicting the first paladin looking up at the one of the first falling stars that led her on her first pilgrimage.
Classic. Seen a few of this one.
Off to the side here, the smaller window is just a plainly decorated with a circular spiraling pattern, and it looks like one of the circles could be pushed open to form like a small opening.
I'm going to approach that window. Does somebody else want to check the stained glass window and see if they can see anything through it?
I always send Houdini inside to through his eyes.
This looks like it would be big enough for perhaps Houdini or Bruce to squeeze through.
Bruce will also
I quietly push the circle on the window.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of rigging, but with one of your thieves' tools, you can kind of push and pull the latch of it, and open the room up. Within, you see it's an empty. It is an empty storeroom and scroll chamber. You can see that here is the stairs down to the crypts below, with the doorway over here leading into the main halls. So this is a small scriptorium and priest's chamber, and there is a streak of blood on the ground going from the entrance to the crypts below to the door, which is shut.
The door is shut. We won't be able to go much further than this room. Is the?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can I mage hand in? I was looking at the range on it.
Mm-hmm.
Could I mage hand the door open to let like Houdini in?
To mage hand, you could mage hand this door down to the crypt itself is not even, it's not a door, it's just an opening, a staircase leading downwards. This over here from the entrance is the doorway, which you could mage hand open if you're in range.
Yeah, I'm a little too far, I believe.
Mage hand is 30
to
feet.
really get in, yeah. I have to climb into the doorway in the room. I have to be in the room.
And there's no way that we could fit through this hole, right?
No. And Rudy, as you look up into the stained glass window, it is strangely opaque. And looking through it, what you realize is that someone has, from the inside, papered the inside of the window with black cloth or something that would block out light. Like it is it's not planks, it's not boarded over. It is merely covered over with drapes and actually perhaps even bits of carpet or shrouds of some kind that have been thickly layered to block the light from coming in.
My friends, the blood, the obvious attempts to conceal what is happening, I believe it may be time that we enter the building.
All right, Wrath. I've been hesitant about this, but I'm ready. Use your magic and get me inside.
And I push the window.
Did we try to open the front door?
Yeah, I gotta go to the front door.
Oh.
Ta-da! And I try to open the front door.
Is it locked?
It is.
Is there a keyhole or is...
Wait, I can pick this lock. Don't worry.
There is no. There's not a lock on the door. It is barred. It is barred.
Yeah.
My thieves' tools seem to be not working as well as planned against this door. Well, Wilhelm, you've been defeated this time.
What about these other windows over on the right side?
Of similar construction, this stained glass window on the opposite side depicts the first paladin at her death upon the great oak, and so she's laying sort of according to legend. In her final battle, in her moment of need, the first paladin lashed herself to a great oak tree so she could continue standing as she fought, and together that great oak and her were immolated in a column of golden flames, which themselves turn back the demons. And those final moments are here depicted in this mural.
Quite a way to go.
The other stained glass window is of similar construction. although quite notably, this window, this window here, looking closely, Wilhelm, this one hasn't been shrouded over. The one of the first paladin has been, but this regularly built one, it hasn't. The side room hasn't.
Can I see what I can see through it? I'm sure it's slightly blurred by the stained glass, but if it's not covered, maybe I can make out shapes in the next room.
Yes. In the next room, you can see, looking through just slightly, you can see that there is a small priest's chamber that has been left entirely in disarray. This room has a small plain bed and a writing desk and a bookshelf. But all of the furniture in the room is actually not in its original place. It has all been piled up next to the door. And as you peek in, you can see that underneath a blanket, there's a blanket in the corner of the room where the bed once was, and it is huddling and shivering.
My friends, we have a survivor. It appears this is where they have barred themselves in. I turn to you two, and they've barred the door to this room, it looks like, and they've barred the door to this cathedral, and they've barred the gate which we have made it past. I don't want to break any windows, nor do I want to startle this person. What is our best approach here to get to them?
I think it's break the window.
I mean, you can knock first so they're not startled. Let them know we're here, but
let's all press our faces against the window and just look in.
Right, they're going to scare them.
No, I will become them. It will not scare them. They will think it's their reflection.
That is more terrifying, Wrath. I'm gonna jiggle the window a bit. Is there any sort of way that I could dismantle the window or remove, or is it pretty huge? Is it a huge window?
The window is large. It's about 2 feet in width and about 4 feet in height, roughly with rounded edges. You could open it. There is an opening in it, just as the other one is, and the familiars could easily get through it. But for a person to get through it, you would have to break parts of the stained glass. With the rattling, you can hear that there is a woman's voice whimpering and starting to shake, and you can actually hear that she is beginning to recite. It sticks out in your mind, and you hear her saying, "Flame guide my soul through the Shadowlands as I go through the," and it's someone she like the phrase "Flame guide my soul through the Shadowlands" is typically a phrase that is administered during someone's last rites or someone who believes that they're about to die.
I'm going to crank open the window, and I'm just going to like, once the window is open, I'm just going to speak. Pardon me, ma'am.
There's a scream, almost a screech.
I mean you no harm. I am here. My name is Wilhelm Wolfsbane. I'm here with Sheriff Rudy Whitaker and the apprentice spellcaster Wrath.
Ask if it's Dana. Ask if it's Dana.
Are we speaking to Dana? Or
there's another gasp and a scream, and the woman pulls the sheet that she's hiding under down, and you can see her face. She looks like she's starving. She's clawed at her own face and pulled out bits of her hair. She looks completely bedraggled, and like she might be mad with both hunger and thirst. You can see that she looks up and she says, "You're not stricken by those beasts, by this thing."
I'm sorry for what has happened to you. Do you need food and water? We could provide you with some.
Adelheid, and those beasts, are they still in the chapel?
Are you saying that they're in there? That's where they were before?
She's... This isn't a nightmare anymore, is it? I'm not asleep anymore, am I?
No, ma'am.
By the flame. And she begins quoting scripture once more, says, saying, "Flame preserve us from the darkness of the night. Flame preserve us as we walk through the Shadowlands. Flame preserve us."
Gentlemen, I think we gotta get in there. Gotta get in there and help her. I start to break open the window. I'm like, screw the stained glass. Her life is worth more than that.
Dana, step back from the window. We're coming in.
Does it come out or in the window?
You just have to break it.
Okay. I break it.
The glass shatters, and Dana screeches again as you come in the room. The shattering of the glass rattles her, but she stands, and you can see that she's torn at most of her vestments. She's holding her holy symbol in her hand, clutching it around the prayer beads, holding it close to herself, and she's still huddling and shaking. And you can see around her, looks like she might have persisted on the corpse of a rat or two, and what little she could conjure through her prayer, she is rattled.
I immediately give her my water skin, and I turn to Rudy. I'm like, "Do we have any breads, any rations?"
Of course we do, and I take some out. And I actually take my red jacket off. I hop in the window. Maybe I get cut by some glass, but I'm like, I don't even care. We need to get her out of here and get her to the inn or something. Get her with her fellow people, because she doesn't deserve to be locked in here afraid anymore.
There's a bump at the door. Crash and scratching noises against the door. The furniture rattles as something tries to break its way through the door.
I immediately go to the door and I hold it and I say, "Wilhelm, get her out that window! Hurry!"
I grab Dana and I start moving her towards the window, and I yell to Wrath, "Wrath, can you help me out here? Let's get her out of here."
Yeah, we will help Dana. Hold the door, Rudy.
With some difficulty, you're able to get her out through the window. She collapses to the ground as she does so.
I think we're going to have to take care of whatever's on the other side of this door.
Of course. But
there's more crashing, and you can hear this screeching noise. Sounds like a familiar reptilian screech.
I quickly look. Is there anywhere in the room? Does the ceiling have rafters or anything, or is it a pretty plain ceiling?
The ceiling has rafters. Yes.
If I step off the table, can I jump and grab a rafter and try to climb up there to get into a position where I have the advantage on the attack of some not actual advantage, just I'm trying to get into an advantageous position for whatever's coming through.
You can clamber up, but looking at the furniture that she has piled up here, it's kept her alive for a little while. Whatever's on the other side of that door has probably tried. You can see bits of the wood splintering. Whatever's on the other side of that has tried to get through this door once before and hasn't been able to get through.
Well, I clamber up anyway, and then I look down at Rudy, and I'm like, "What do you think? Are we opening the door?"
Can I go to the other window? There seems to be another window.
Yeah. It is shrouded over just like the other one.
And there's no way to open it or peek inside?
Again, it's a stained glass mural. You would need to break it to get through.
You know what? I don't know if this little room is going to be best for taking on a few people with with a battle. I say we see if we can find a way to get the front door open and maybe get him out into a position where we have a bit more room to maneuver.
The front door was barred, so anything short of kicking it down, I don't know exactly how we plan to do that.
I've had some solid wood cutting experience in my time. Is it a wooden door?
Yep. It is.
Make rule number 383. When you don't have a door, make a door.
That isn't one of the rules.
Write that down.
No.
Add it to your list is a good rule. Good job, Raph.
There are not 300 and Wrath, good efforts. So you want to go through the front door?
Yeah, but I want to make sure Dana gets taken care of first.
I'm going to kind of impose myself between Dana and whatever the source of the sound is coming from, and just kind of distract her and start to move her back away from the building itself and towards the front gate. Now, the front gate, is it barred from the inside? Like, could I easily
yes,
remove
it's barred from the inside?
I'm gonna head that way with Dana.
How far?
If I can just get her out of here, I can rebar the gate.
Yeah,
then we can deal with this. Taking
her a few minutes, you're able to lead her out to the front gate where she kind of collapses to her knees against the wall, and she says, "It's not Adelheid anymore. It's not her anymore."
After how far we saw her go out?
Dana, do you know your way? Do you need help? Is there anyone around? Like near the
people have been giving the chapel a very wide berth. Dana pulls the blanket that she's got around her and she says, Go help Adelheid. I'll be okay here.
You are strong. And I'll be back. I'm gonna lock the door again, just in case.
Okay.
Is there still slamming at this door to this room?
Oh, yeah.
All right. I got an idea. Wilhelm, I say you take from the side in this door. Wrath, me and you go around the front, see if we can get through. And Wilhelm, you take the back way in, or this side way in. So that way we're coming at them at a few angles, but maybe they'll hear us banging at the door, and they'll bring them away, and you can get in without too much trouble.
Does it look like I would be able to move the stuff in front, like blocking the door pretty effectively?
Be a few minutes of work to do that, but yes.
Once you start chopping that door, I'll start moving stuff here. We'll have sounds on both ends to befuddle them, giving us the drop.
I think either way, I can try to make my accent a little bit louder than your furniture moving, so maybe they'll draw them too. And then Wrath, you get your magic hands ready. Blast them if you see them, all right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's do it.
Wilhelm and Rudy, both of you can give me athletics checks. Actually, Rudy, you can just give me a straight up attack roll.
I'm doing athletics?
Yeah.
I got a 10.
Okay.
7!
The 10 is enough to pull one of the larger pieces of furniture out of the way. And it's mainly this bookshelf that is keeping things closed. So you pull some of the smaller furniture. And there's the battering from the other side. And
wait, do I add my proficiency to it?
Yeah. Like,
10!
You're making a straight up attack roll with your weapons.
Yeah.
Okay. So Wilhelm, as you pull away one of the smaller pieces of furniture, there's another smash at the door. And this time, without that last piece of furniture in place, the smash gives way and the door bursts off its hinges and the bookshelf falls backwards the other way with a loud crash. On the other side is one of these reptilian scaled beast with a snapping jaw and scraps of clothing. Its claw-like hands are covered in blood and that have raked against the door. There's 2 of them that have been throwing themselves at the door, and they move towards to attack you. Roll for initiative.
Rudy!
We're not swinging loud enough.
I accidentally used my hand axe instead of my battle axe. Hey. I'm used to chopping
Do you have a chopping song that you...
Rudy, what do you got?
10.
Wilhelm?
16.
Okay.
14.
Okay. Alrighty. And I will just reveal a little bit more here for you, Wilhelm. So you can see, as with the door opening up, that there's at least 2 of these at the door and a few more of them going into the room. The light is just spilling in. The rest of this entire room is in darkness. You are first to act. What will you do?
As the bookshelf falls and I kind of jump backwards out of the way, I immediately, without hesitation, leap onto the bookshelf, pull out the rapier, and stab it through the now open door right into the first creature that I see.
Nice. Your new glowing sword?
Yes, I pull it out, and it is this beautiful elven-made glowing sword, which I think we have called Twilight, is its name.
Yes. Twilight blazes out, and the creatures recoil from the light, hissing. Go for it.
Ooh. 25 to hit.
That is a hit. It's a big
and I'm
hit.
going to get sneak attack on that. Wait, do I get sneak attack? I think, yeah, if... Hold on, let me just read. I need to read.
We need to double check.
Is having... if you are within 5 feet of it and no other creatures are within 5 feet of you, of me. So
Okay.
the other creature is not within 5 feet of me,
That's
so I
correct.
do get sneak attack. Great. $18 damage.
You run it through in the side, and it screeches out in a howl of pain. It is bloodied.
I'm actually going to take this moment. Because I've attacked it, I can now move away from it. Can I leap out the window and hide in these bushes?
Yes, you can.
Can I use my cunning action to hide?
Yep.
Cool. I stab it, and as it's screaming, I dive out the window, roll into the bushes, pull my cloak up around me, and wait. Do you want me to give you a stealth to hide?
Yes, please.
And I get that with advantage thanks to my new cloak. That's going to be a 29.
Sounds good to me.
I disappear.
The hell did he go?
Alrighty. Okay. We now go to Wrath.
So the door is starting to be,
Yes, Rudy damaged the door but didn't break through it.
and there's I haven't really figured out yet where these things are. Like,
Yeah, you
Wilhelm's
just saw
seen them.
Wilhelm crash through the window.
and then hide in the bushes.
Yeah.
Wilhelm, how's it going over there? Shh. Oh, sorry. I have a feeling that these creatures do not enjoy light. So, in anticipation, I want to touch the damaged door.
Okay.
And can I cast the light spell on it?
Yes, you can.
And I do that. So I want to make the door just start to shed
You bet.
bright light.
You bet. Okay. There is hissing and screeching from within, but none of the creatures approach.
Keep swinging, Rudy.
Rudy, it is your turn.
All right. Attack rolls on the door.
Cool.
It's a lot brighter.
Oh,
than it used to be.
not the hand axes, the battle axes. And I take them and I just start chopping. Can Houdini use the help action to help me with this? Is that a yeah?
No, you're breaking down a door. I don't think Houdini can help you with that.
All right, first one. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 25 to hit.
Yep.
There you go.
Give me the damage.
8 damage. Second hit. 21
Smash.
with
Smash.
12 damage.
Okay, the door bursts and splinters, and light spills out into the room to the sound of hissing noises and splintering wood. The room beyond is revealed, and you can see that several of the creatures have taken up hiding in there. But in the midst of all this, you can see flittering in the air is this snaking aura of pulsating purplish dark energy swirling out from the darkness in this area over here. And you can see the several of the trogs, including one nursing its wounds, hiding behind the pews as the light spreads into the room.
Do I want to?
So the door smashes, and you're standing there with your battle axes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just
So
wondering if there's any I can make it to. Oh, I can make it here.
Yeah. You can
Oh,
see
yeah.
that.
Okay. Okay, so I move my way over and I just say, "I'm coming in! Ready or not?" And I take my offhand
Okay.
weapon fighting on this
As
guy.
you step forward, you can see through your dark vision in the room, hiding behind one of the pillars is Flamekeeper Adelheid. She has taken on a monstrous pallor as her flesh is sloughing off in places, and her cranium is pulsating, almost translucent thin, as if you can see her skull underneath, and there's this pulsing flesh like a cancerous tumor on her bald head. And she regards you with these purple blue lips like she's drowned, and fluttering around her is this wave of necrotic energy. And as you enter the space, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh. 4.
Okay. As you enter the area of her spell, you're going to take 15 points of necrotic damage.
And I lash out with my last attack. Oh, with a 19 to hit
It's a hit.
for 8 damage.
Awesome. That wounds the trog, but does not fell it. Wilhelm, it is your turn.
Seeing Rudy smash through the door and kind of hearing screams and hisses from inside, I emerge from my hiding space, pop out of the bushes, climb back through the window,
Okay.
and so
Okay, give me an acrobatics check.
all right. I step vault into the room, getting an 18.
Awesome. You kind of vault through the window, like roll through across the debris and into the room.
And as I finish the roll, I pull out my crossbow and line it up with this guy behind the pew. Does he look like the same one I stabbed before?
It's this one here.
I aim for him then.
Cool.
And I'm going to fire my crossbow. Is he behind cover?
Yes, I'm going to give him +2 to his AC.
The sharpshooter? No, I don't have sharpshooter.
You do not have sharpshooter.
Darn. All right. That's going to be 16 to hit.
And let's see the damage roll. That's a hit.
No sneak attack on that, though, eh?
Afraid not.
No.
Still might be enough, though.
I got 9 damage.
It is the careful shot as it recoils from the bright light of the room spilling in. You crash into the room, roll forward, and let out a swift shot that catches it right through the eye socket.
Without even skipping a beat, I move slightly to the left to line up a shot against the other one in front of me. This one here. 23 to hit.
A hit.
Oh, doing 5 damage.
Okay, not quite enough to take it down. The bolt crashes into its upper shoulder and it lashes out in pain. Anything else, Wilhelm? That was your action, movement, bonus action? Okay. Yeah. The Flamekeeper, Adelheid, seeing Rudy stepping into the room, Adelheid cries out, and as she does so, she lifts her holy symbol over her head, and it glows with a baleful, sickly light. Instead of the pure light of the sacred fire, it is almost like a perversion. And this bolt of radiant energy crashes out from it towards you, Rudy. And she gets an 18 to hit.
Assuming because it's a spell, shield would not work?
Shield will work because it's still an attack roll.
Shield!
Okay.
Jump.
The bolt is blocked as you reach up a shield, deflecting the bolt of radiant energy. And she maintains her position. She kind of steps over here, holding you close into the aura of energy radiating around her. Wrath, it is your turn.
I finally step into the room with Bruce in tow. I'm gonna try to shut this party down. So reaching into my backpack, I reveal the scroll of hypnotic pattern, and I am going to use the power that I found in the Elven runes against these creatures. So I'm going to cast hypnotic pattern, and I'm going to try to get all 4 of these.
Okay.
Somewhere like I forget how to ping in
I can hold.
What is the saving throw?
Wisdom, because it's a spell, it just uses my DC.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
or is it like it's a scroll? 16.
Okay. Wow, I'm really sorry. I rolled a 17, a 17, a 20, a 17. This one fails and is hypnotized. But Adelheid and the other 2 trogs do not succumb to the hypnotic pattern, I'm afraid.
It's a scroll of charm 1 lizard person, and it was successful.
One is left as a drooling mess, but the others, I'm afraid, are unaffected by the spell.
This is disappointing. And that is my turn.
Okay. The Trogs, screeching and screaming, this one lunges towards Wilhelm, and this one rushes down the pews towards Wrath, and this one is going to press the attack on Rudy. The other is hypnotized. So Rudy, I got 3 attacks coming in on you. One's going to be a crit, but the other 2 are definitely going to miss. So the crit with its claws is going to be a total of 9 points of damage. It screeches almost in its death throes and rakes the claw across your chest. One rushes towards Wrath, getting 2 natural ones and a 20 to hit.
The 20 hits. It's the light shining behind me. It throws them off.
Yep. And that is going to be 4 points of damage only.
Whew.
The last one races towards Wilhelm.
Aha! Foiled again.
Deflection.
Getting
Deflection.
2 9s and an 18 to hit.
The 18 hits, so I dodge,
And
take
then
it to the face.
Swaps you across the side of the face for 8 points of damage.
Make that 4 points of damage as I move my face with it to take less damage.
And Rudy, it is your turn. You're starting your turn in the aura of the awful necrotic spirit guardians. Make a wisdom saving throw.
10.
That is a failure. So that is going to be... that is going to be 18 points of necrotic damage.
Oh boy.
You
And
okay, Rudy?
I also need a constitution saving throw against the stench of the Trogs.
Oh, from all of us?
Just for Rudy, because it's the start of her turn.
13.
That is a save. It is your turn, Rudy. Just so you know, because you started your turn in the aura of the Spirit Guardians, your speed is halved as well, in case that's relevant. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna call Houdini over here. And I'm assuming if he's gonna come help me, he'll have to make a saving throw.
Yeah, if he enters the aura, he can be harmed.
You know what? He's gonna help Wrath.
Okay.
Can Bruce help? Can Bruce help from this location?
Not
where he is on
without
the map?
taking damage from the aura, I'll say.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'll take my attack against this gentleman beside me.
Okay.
Gentlemen.
Everyone's a gentleman until proven.
Gentlemanly.
16 to hit
That is a hit.
for 10 damage.
He is cut down by your axe blow.
All right. I am going to then move further into the aura. 5.
Jumping over the pews. Just
I can make it that far?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, you got enough
Okay.
to get there.
All right. I'm going for Aelhide. 13 to hit.
That is going to be a miss.
Ooh, all right. We're going to not use that die anymore. That is a 16 to hit.
That is a hit, though.
Boom. 12 damage, and I'm going to action surge.
Okay. And I will make a constitution save for her spell. Oh, it's good. She loves it. You're going to action surge?
Yep.
Okay.
19 to hit
Also a hit.
for 9 damage.
Nice.
And one more. That is a 13 to hit.
Didn't work last time.
Oh, yeah.
Adelheid survives. She's got to make one more constitution saving throw. Oh, and the aura goes down, though.
Shut it down.
The spell breaks. The energy of the spell breaks and shudders as she loses the channeling of the spell.
I'm gonna update my hit points there. And I'm just like bleeding off of like scratches and like from my ears from the aura and stuff like that. And I'm like, Edelhad, your time is done. Give up.
Alrighty. And she babbles and speaks tongues from her mouth, and you just, the hour of absolution is upon. Blah. Yeah, it's gross. Wilhelm, it is your turn.
All right. Rudy, you've made her stop glowing. Small victories. Small victories. I'm going to lunge forward with an attack against the creature.
Okay, it stinks real bad though. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh dear.
It's living in dark filth.
I get an 8.
You're poisoned.
Oh no. As I go to attack, and as I finish my sentence with Rudy, I kind of breathe in and I just like throw up in my mouth a little.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, poisoned. Let me just add that in.
Yeah, that's going to mean disadvantage on your attack rolls, I'm afraid.
Sounds like berries to me. So I'm still going to attempt to murder this thing. I pull out I already have my glowing, beautiful sword out, and I push forward with the attack. Getting a 13.
That is enough.
Yes, and I will sneak attack it.
Woo!
No, you won't, because you have disadvantage on the attack roll.
Right.
No.
Okay, remove those, and
No, you won't.
that was sad, right? I had disadvantage. So that'll be 9 damage.
That's actually enough to still
Yes!
say it. Yeah.
And I slump forward in between the pews, and I'm going to fire a shot at what's her name?
Okay, nice.
Also
with disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm kind of like slumped up against the pews, and I'm like using it to like help me try to aim, doing my best. I get an 11, which won't hit.
Afraid not.
I slump over the pew and kind of get sick.
Okay.
It's not pleasant.
Edelhad. She reaches out and calls forth a torch. A shimmering torch that appears beside you, Rudy. And the shimmering torch, though, instead of glowing with the light of the sacred fire again, it's illuminated by this bale flame, and the torch swings around and smashes into you, getting a 16 to hit. And then she looks you in the eyes, and her eyes turn black, and she says, "The Shadowlands call to you." Make a wisdom saving throw.
17!
That's a save against Toll the Dead, so you do not take 2d12 necrotic damage.
Yes!
Nice. Okay. That might have been her last move there. Wrath, it's your turn.
I died.
I have Houdini helping me, right?
Yeah.
And Bruce is going to help me too on the second attack, so I'm just going to try to blast this thing into oblivion. So it negates the disadvantage.
Yeah.
Okay, groovy. So I stare at this stinky creature. Oh, and I go, "Stinky creature, go away." I get a 12.
That's enough.
Oh gosh.
It stinks, but yeah, it's not super stinky.
And then I get a 27 to hit.
A hit.
For 9 damage.
Okay.
And on the second attack, I only get a 13 to hit.
Enough. It is enough.
Oh, for 10 damage.
It is blown away.
And then I'm gonna yell to Adelheid.
Yep.
I want to say in her mind, remember the light, come to the light. The light is where you will find salvation. You will find forgiveness. Please end this madness. Stop what you are doing.
As you reach out to her mind, the presence that you touch with your mind is not that mind, which is not that of the body. There's something else inside her that you reach out to, and it shrieks back at you with an alien intelligence.
Oh.
The last Trog is hypnotized. So, Rudy, over to you.
Rudy, she is not her own. She is not herself.
I'm still gonna smack her with some axes.
Okay, that seems to work usually.
Then call Houdini. Well, Houdini helped Wrath. Is that a different round that I can use help with? I don't know where we are.
Pardon me?
With Houdini, because he helped Wrath from my last.
Yeah. The familiars have done all their helping. Or
okay.
It is Houdini's turn. So actually, Houdini can come over and help you now.
He can come.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because it resets at the start of your turn.
Then that is a 17 to hit.
That is it.
6 damage.
Okay.
Second, that is a nope at 11 to hit, so that doesn't hit. And then the third one. Oh, that's better. Okay. 22 to hit.
A hit.
10 damage.
What happens? How do you cut her down?
I just say, it's your time. You've gone too far. And I just, again, go for the neck. Straight cut.
As you go for the neck and lop the head off, it cracks open on the stone floor like an overripe watermelon, bursting forth and spilling brains out across the floor. Brains which reach up with their own spindly legs.
No! Rudy, no!
You gotta stop doing that to the heads!
Especially the really gushy, whooshy
The familiar
ones.
whining sound is heard, that keening wail of the creatures that you face in the swamp, as it stumbles onto its legs. Wilhelm, it is your turn.
I stand up from being slumped on the pew, and I oh no, not one of these again. I'm going to run. I'm going to kind of, I don't know, drag myself over to here, and I'm going to fire a shot at it.
Okay.
Ooh.
You still have the disadvantage from the poison.
Yeah, with disadvantage, I get a 20.
That's a hit.
Yeah.
For 9 damage.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take a second shot. Wow, hot dice. I just rolled a 20 and a 16, so my crit becomes a hit for another 9 damage.
Okay.
And then, because I'm terrified of these things, let's see. Yeah, I have 10 feet of movement. I start dragging myself back towards where Wrath is.
Okay. It is Adelheld's turn, who is now just a brain. It sending a winging pulse of psionic energy, it turns its attention on Rudy. And Rudy, you feel this power crush upon your intellect. Give me an intelligence saving throw.
13.
You save.
Okay. I was like, I'm done.
Just for the record, let's see. What's your intelligence score?
It's a +1. The save is a +1, so 12.
Yeah, so I would have devoured your intellect. I got. You made that saving throw by 1.
Guys, kill it.
Rudy, are you okay?
Thank you. I'll never doubt you again.
That dice goes in the Dice Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no.
Bruce, hungry as ever, goes to help, but it's actually he's going to eat, and he sails over the pews, barely even touching them, on wings of power, and I get a 22 to hit.
That's a hit.
For 12 damage.
The brains
Elder
splatter all across the pews.
It comes up and it tries to like wah, 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 on Rudy, and then I just shoot it out of the sky, and Bruce immediately starts eating the leftovers. He pounces on it, and he's just.
Yep, indeed. Well, with that image fresh in our minds, we've run a little bit long, so I think this is the right place to take our breaks, and we'll come back and see how this shakes out when we get back in 15. See you in a few. And we are back from our short rest. We have had all of our consumables, healed up all of our hit points, and we're going to play some more D&D.
If you're enjoying the stream and you want to help support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can find out how by following the links below or at patreon.com/dungeon_dudes. Also, keep in mind that we have a phenomenal Discord community exclusive for our patrons. So you can pop into the Discord and chat with all 4 of us, as well as Kyle, and you can talk to our beautiful community about all wonderful nerdy things that you want to talk about, including Drakkenheim episodes, previous campaigns, episodes that we've released on Thursdays, and you can take part in our monthly writers room, which contributes to future episodes, and you can also submit questions for our monthly Q&As as well. So if you're joining us on Patreon, please check out Discord as well and join in on the fun there.
Of course, don't forget to look at the links below for our Teespring store, where you can find all of your favorite Dungeon Dudes t-shirts, including the Dusk Wardens, as well as Way Bigger Than Ducks, as well as all of your favorites from Dungeons of Drakkenheim as well. So check out bit.ly/Dungeon Dudes merch.
And in our game tonight, we use a variety of incredible assets produced by talented artists. They have graciously given us permission to use these assets in our streamed games. But you can use them at your table as well. We encourage you to check out and support these amazing creators. We have Roll20 with the virtual tabletop. We have Battle Maps by Alex Vandara of Neutral Party and Ross McConnell of 2 Minute Tabletop. We have custom maps created using Dungeon Fog and Wonder Draft. We have player character artwork by Jeremy Cole. NPC token artwork by Matthias Bourbon. We have monster token artwork from the D&D 5e Monster Manual and other source books. We have special effects tokens by Gabriel Picard and music by Tabletop Audio. So thank you to all those amazing creators, and we appreciate you letting us use them.
Yeah. With that, let us return to the shadows. The harrowing experience at the Chapel of St. Irene has come to a close, with the slaying of the vicious creatures from the swamps and the horrific remnant of the Elder One. The last vestiges of the curse upon Schaffberg are now only the memories and scars on its people. Flamekeeper Dana is shaken, and as you clear out of the rest of the chapel, she explains how she barred herself in the room as she came to a sudden awareness of the fact that she'd been held in thrall. She thought that perhaps she was the only one that had escaped from that dream, until she heard the sounds of the trogs tearing apart the other acolytes that tended to the chapel. Of the clergy of Schaffberg, Dana is the only survivor.
It's going to be a hard road to rebuild this town. The scar of what has occurred here will last a lifetime. It will be a story that will more than likely be passed down, but you represent what is left of the hope and the good in this town, and I hope that you have the strength to carry on with your divine purpose here. The town might need you, but I do want to ask if there's anything that you need from us. I can imagine that this has been more devastating for the people of this town than it even has been for us, and I can tell you the last couple weeks have been intense. Is there anything that we can do to make the journey to recovery easier?
Dana says, were it not for you, who knows what that creature would have done to us? Who knows what it would have done next? What about our neighbors? What about other folk passing through this town? Anyone heading up from Leukton or the Free City towards Todsfeld and Dransmund, they all pass through Schaffberg. We already know the other folk in the town. I already know, I saw them all. All the travelers that passed through this way, what we did to them, what it made us do. I don't know whether we should try to forget it, pretend like it was just a bad dream. How can we?
Think bad things that happen to people, happen around people. As much as we'd like to forget about them, we need to learn from them. Keep them in our hearts to know that we can watch out for the signs of if this ever happens again, and hopefully it doesn't. But there's a time to move on with our lives, but never forget the things that happen, so that way they can not be done in vain.
That monster, that thing, it treated us all like we were puppets, like we weren't people, like we were just not even servants, but just like we were just animals, not even worse than that. And it used us against each other. Dana says, how can I keep my faith when I know that things like that are in this world?
What I will say is we're not here to tell you what the right path is for you in the future. But if you took up the faith, my assumption would be that you believe in hope and you believe in giving others hope. I won't ask you to take up the church or the position that you once held. But if you have it in you to provide hope, the town may need you.
She says, it's not for me to decide whether I stay here or not. It's normally decided by the church itself. If I stay here, that will depend. Maybe this was the punishment. Maybe this is the punishment that has come for us from the lack of faith in Westamar. What if what is happening in Drakkenheim is a curse?
It is a curse, but I don't think what's happening in these places, what's happening in Drakkenheim and the spreading of this corruption, it is a curse and it is a nightmare, but we need to stick to our truths in our beliefs and each other. For evil can't defeat us if we band together and work together to overcome it. Our species, the multiple species that make up our cities, our continents, our lands, they've seen dark times before. They've seen wars that destroyed families and homes. This is a different type of war, and all of us are going to play our part, but we need to believe in each other and ourselves. Trust in your friends and those who have made it, and those of Schaffberg who will stick by your side. And there may be light yet at the end of this all.
Well said.
Indeed.
As someone who serves a greater power, there is purpose to the tests. Please use this as an opportunity to seek with counsel or wisdom with whoever you look up to. And I was petting Bruce ever so gently.
In the darkness of those few days, I did reach out in prayer, and I did send one message out to my old mentor in Illyria, that if they knew what was happening, to send help to me. But you came instead. Maybe maybe they're coming, those still too, and maybe there will be more light in Westamar as well. The Silver Order is coming. They can do a lot of good here. They can help. I can tell them what happened here and let them know what they can guard against. The knights and the paladins of the Silver Order are valiant and brave and righteous and true. They can help.
The hearts of men can be easily corrupted. You would do wise to trust in this thing the flame, this thing you serve. It is not as easily swayed.
And that is why I think we can trust the Silver Order. They're coming, and their paladins are guided by truth and light and the flame itself. They'll be able to help us. Go
ahead.
That you were here and brave, and that you stood up to help us is one thing, but they wield the power of the flame, and they have the blessings of the Hierarch.
I have yet to pass judgment on the paladins. I hear that they march for Drakkenheim. Until their motives are revealed, it is yet to be seen whether or not Illyria is a friend or foe in what is to come.
But what if whatever happened here is exactly what happened in Drakkenheim? What if all those people there, what if some monster came for them? What if it's all a trick? We have to tell them it could be that what happened here is happening somewhere else. Maybe that's why the people in Drakkenheim turned against the Silver Order. Maybe they were controlled like puppets too.
If the events in Drakkenheim are half as bad as what we just lived through, then I hope that the Illyrians are here to help. And if we can determine that, then perhaps there's reason enough for them to be in our lands.
Will you stay here in Schaffberg for a couple days until I will send a message to them, and maybe last I knew they still had some soldiers in Leukton. Maybe they would just come and a few of them could help us here. And you could tell them what happened. You could tell them what you fought. They would do good with that knowledge. You could help them.
They could come if they want, but I'm going to be long gone from Schaffberg if the Illyrians are on their way. I don't want any of their help. All they do is push people around for their own wants and deeds, and I'm not about that. You can keep your Illyrians.
But they follow the flame. They're the hierarch is the light of the church itself. She's blessed as she speaks for the flame. We can trust them.
If I know anything about the flame and what the Illyrians stand for, I don't want it in Westamar. You can keep it in Illyria.
I'm sorry to hear that. You're brave and you gave much for us here. But, well, you've given me a lot to think about. Oh, you're always welcome here.
Yes, these are matters that we can discuss later. For now, you should rest and recover.
Will you be okay?
I'll be fine. I want to see if I should help the rest of the people here.
Of course, they're going to need it. They're going to need some guidance. And just to keep up their spirits, to get back to some semblance of life here. Unfortunately, we're not leaving them in much of a state, but if we can prevent this from happening elsewhere, I think that's where we're needed most.
I concur. And Dana, a single candle can light many others, and no matter how flickering your light may be in this time, sharing that with this town will be of great help. And I think you'll do good here, and I'm glad to hear that you'll be okay.
A single candle can light many others. You speak the words of the prophet well. That is true. I will hold to my faith. I'm sorry that you don't want to stay. I do think that it would be good for you to tell the Silver Order what happened here, but perhaps you could tell me of what led up to all this and how you fought that thing, and I could tell them that the knowledge would be helpful.
We'll also be leaving messages with the local academy member and as well as the elves. There'll be some people.
Unfortunately, at this time, I believe we're more than a week behind schedule, and we have other places that we need to make sure are okay.
Very well. Come back here before you go. I'm going to open up the reliquary and see if there's anything that I can give you as thanks.
Much obliged.
With that, she says that she's going to travel back towards town and begin assembling a few people to help her start cleaning out the chapel. She'll probably rest herself a few days though first.
Fair enough.
Shall we head to the inn?
Smart.
I suppose. Has my poison worn off yet?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was kind of like a sickening poison from the smell.
Yeah.
I'm still bleeding everywhere.
I think it might be good to spend the rest of the evening, maybe check out the tavern, see what's happening there, and I may just well join the locals in handing out bread and food to those who are staying indoors this evening.
As you head back down towards the tavern square and head to the Goose and Goblin, past the Goose and Goblin and the Warped Wheel. The Goose and Goblin being the first inn where you had that awful coffee, the Warped Wheel, which the Goose and Goblin is basically abandoned because most of the not abandoned, but most of the folk there were in thrall to the Elder One, and so it's being recovered and kind of being used not as an inn so much as a staging ground to help people like sort things out now. But the warped wheel is still operating, and as you stride into the warm tap room, Elba and her husband Ollie, who run and recognize you before and showed you good fortune, they squeal with delight as you enter the tavern and clap for you. And Ollie says, "You're true heroes. Look what you've done for us. We thought the whole town was going mad. It's good to know that it wasn't just us. Listen, I've got some fine vodka down from Helig on the house, the whole bottle for you."
You honor us with your gracious compliments. You must know, though, rule number 14 is do what is right. We're not heroes. We're just people with certain skills who saw an opportunity to help those in need.
Well, whatever the rules are, a toast to you. And he puts down a couple glasses, pours you all the vodka, and says, and says, "May this lift the spirits of our town again."
The spirits.
I hope this doesn't make us unconscious.
It goes down like fire, but it's well taken. And there's a clapping from many of the locals who had not suffered quite so much, have congregated here to lift their own spirits from the melancholy of what had happened to their town. And striding down as the commotion builds up, Verona von Baden strides down herself, having now gone through all of her things and been able to piece together her own belongings once more. She's a very different sight from what you saw earlier. She has clothed herself in this black and navy velvet garments, and it seems that a good portion of the jewelry that you found might have been hers because she's dripping in it. And she comes back down, and she says, "Well, color me impressed. You've done quite a lot of good here. If I had known, when you've reaped the rewards of the common folk, I'll have to match their hospitality in kind when we get to Dransmund."
Expect no less. We definitely will be heading to Dransmund, and we will need to have some conversations with your family.
Absolutely. When you arrive in Dransmund, just about an afternoon's ride is Badendorf Castle, where my brother holds his court and his estates, and I'll be sure to send message well ahead that you are to be shown every accommodation possible. I'm sure he will be eager to meet you all. Tell me, though, how is it that you all got mixed up in all this? I think that anyone else that would have come through Schaffberg would have been overtaken easily by what was happening here.
Well, Rudy here is actually the sheriff of Tierhaven, and we had a delirium incident in Tierhaven as well, and so we've kind of just been following the trail, so to speak.
Say, if it wasn't for us, that same thing might have happened in our own hometown. Luckily, we were there to sort it out.
But isn't it obvious? All the trail leads back to Drakkenheim. That's where all the delirium comes from. That's well known. It's pieces of the meteor that destroyed the city. Why not head back there?
Well, the thing is that it seems to have left Drakkenheim, and you yourself have mentioned shipping it because of its value and worth. And this is something that potentially could be very dangerous. So we left our little town of Tierhaven to follow this particular trail, which unfortunately is leading us right to your brother's keep. And so...
The obvious source would be Drakkenheim, of course. It's already being looked at about what's all happening with monsters and delirium, but what we're more concerned about is the hidden dangers that have come out of Drakkenheim that are, boiling beneath the surface of Westamar.
It's true. We never really expected this kind of thing. There's been no shortage of horror, of course, through Westamar. You can find it just in all of the villages that were burned during the Civil War. But in any case, that's been none of my family's business, to be honest. Our business, though, has been involved with all this, so if we've played a part in it, though, my brother will want to know. What are you... And you, she turns to Wrath, are you a mage of the Academy?
Yes, we are under strict orders to understand the depths of where the delirium has reached. I'm not able to divulge too many details. However, you understand the secrecy of the Academy spreads far.
Very familiar with that.
So I would be open to tell you that we are interested in some of your contacts, as we previously stated. I am happy to see that you are not in a cave and that you are dressed and seem to be about yourself. We hope to meet in Dresden to discuss some of your potential selling points. I do not believe that there is any sort of, ramifications for your actions. I think you are a savvy businesswoman. However, we are very interested in how the delirium travels when it was in Drakkenheim.
You're working with the Academy, and you're following the trail of the delirium. Is the Academy worried that they're going to get blamed for all this?
That would, in some terms, be above my pay grade.
Above your pay grade? So they're not even paying you?
They are... I'm compensated to the level of not apprentice. I am a full member. I serve the Academy as one should, and there is a pride that I have for the Academy and its doings. We are, to be honest, I was looking for a little adventure. The rustic life was kind of getting the best of me.
Well, if you're sick of the rustic life, I'll tell you. If this delirium is causing problems and the Academy is going to get blamed for it, it wouldn't surprise me if my family is caught in the crossfires of that as well. Seems to me like if the Academy is unwilling to open their purse strings to help you, well, maybe we could be a supporting interest in your venture.
You speak in riddles, woman. What?
I only speak one riddle, and I really only speak one language, to be honest. That's money.
I think they're offering to fund the Dusk Wardens.
It's not a decision that is mine alone to make, but let me put it this way. Our family has grown very wealthy of late, thanks to the trade of delirium and selling it to the Academy, and no small part to several other buyers as well. And if things like this are happening all along Westamar in the midst of all this, well, at the very least, I would pay you to stay informed about what's going on.
This is something I may need to discuss with my compadres.
These two? Or the Academy? Because I can see to it that there's a little extra to keep it between us.
Your offer can be a whisper. It would be between my associates if we are going to be dealing in these types of affairs.
Excellent. Well, in that case, when are you planning on leaving Schaffberg?
I think we plan to leave in the morning.
Tomorrow.
And I think we will have much to discuss. You are going to be meeting us in Dransmund, correct?
Yes, I will be heading quite directly that way. As soon as I can... There's a few willing people that want to turn their backs on Schaffberg that I can pay to have an escort with. You're welcome to travel with me if that's of interest to you. I'll likely be heading up the way through Todsfeld and Glothen towards Dransmund myself, and then back to report with my brother. It's unfortunate that I will have to cancel my business trip to the Free City to sell this delirium that I had, but under the given circumstances, I think it best that I keep it for the time being.
I agree. And, Madame von Baden, we are headed over to Todsfeld. Perhaps if we wanted, depending on when you're leaving, we need to go post-haste. And we are going to be talking to the Duke in Todsfeld, so we might be staying there a little longer. If I could pose one question to you, call it a favor of information, if you have it. You've lived in Dransmund most of your life, correct?
Yes, but I would not say I've lived in Dransmund most of my life. I would say I've seen the back of a road or the deck of a ship more than I've seen Dransmund. But I did grow up. I did grow up in Badensburg, which is
perhaps even better than it being well traveled. The Elven Tower. I don't want to trigger any horrible memories, but I'm sure you were able to take some of it in during our escape. Have you ever seen another tower like that, perhaps near Dransmund or along the coast?
The only thing that I can think of is that old lighthouse off on a rocky island just off Aschhafen. There's several lighthouses that dot along Ash Bay to guide people in as they're coming in from the bay. The sea just off the Crystal Coast can be pretty violent, but the bay itself is a safe harbor. So there's several lighthouses just along the entrance to the bay, and Aschhafen is about where the seas begin is about the midpoint where the seas start to break up a little bit more. So there is this lighthouse that's out there, but it was out on the rocks, not on the sea proper. So I don't think it's been in use for many, many years.
Uh, do you think it might be Elvin and Make, the old lighthouse?
Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest.
Sounds worth checking out either way, so it sounds like
Yeah.
perhaps beyond Dransmond we may be going to Ashshafen to begin our quest for this lost tower.
I've never known that lighthouse to be lit. So the closest that I ever would have been to it would have been, on the horizon itself. I've never seen it up close. Ashshafen is not a lot of folk go up to Ashshafen. The folk there are strange, and they have been for a very long time.
What do you mean by strange?
Just have a strange look about them, that's all.
More specific. What kind of look?
It's just the Ashshafen look. Just all the people there. They don't travel out too far, so you know what happens when a town doesn't get a lot of diversity? You get my meaning?
I know what you mean. All right.
Yeah. Let's just say that the people of Ashshafen like to keep things in the family a little bit, so...
Well, sounds like another pleasant adventure for us. Madame von Baden, you've been most helpful, and I do hope that you keep well. If you plan to set out tomorrow, we could journey with you. If you are staying here for a few days, we might need to depart ahead of you.
I was going to build up some supplies and provisions to me and send some messengers and things ahead, so you might, if you're heading out at dawn, that's a little bit too early for my blood.
Then perhaps I look forward to speaking again in Dransmond.
Very well. We'll see you there in a few days. Well,
Anybody else?
Has she
Let's
left?
just see before we left.
no, she's staying in the tavern. She's gonna keep drinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys, do we need to rest?
I could probably use
I'm still
one more
bleeding.
good. Yeah, one more after the incident in the church. I think we could all use another good night's sleep in a soft bed and a warm meal before we set out again tomorrow to hopefully a much nicer city.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Of course, the Flamekeeper said we should probably stop by just before we leave, see what's what.
And I'm trying to decide if I should sell off my old sword. It's been with me through many good times, so...
Isn't it your father's sword?
Isn't it a family heirloom?
Yes.
Sell it.
So
Should I
you
keep
want...
it?
Family's everything.
My friends, I do have to ask, what did you make of her proposal? Do we sell the secrets?
Wrath, you may not like this, but I think the Amethyst Academy might be up to more than they told us. It's possible they're the ones who have been buying the delirium. They've been using it. Do you know about this, or is this all news? Because we were sent to get rid of delirium problems along the river here. Why is the same academy that is paying us to dispose of issues also buying delirium?
These are questions that might be posed to River. She may have more information. However, I will stand for the Academy and its choices. I understand that they use delirium in the ways that they can. My concern is that this woman, this royalty, has made quite the profit, yet she stands for something else. And Wilhelm, you seem to know her. and in a way maybe look up to her, but there is a concern within me that she has ulterior motives. That and the Flamekeeper speaking about the paladins, my only suggestion is that our mission may need to be a little bit more secretive. I feel that we have shared a lot with mere strangers, and we do not know where they stand amidst all this. There are a lot of moving parts, and I, for one, am more involved in the academic studies of the academy and my loyalty to Bruce. I do not involve myself in the politics of mortal men, so this is a little outside of my understanding, but I can tell when someone is using me.
There's something about the academy and them approaching us to help clean up these messes, and I understand that they use it for academic purposes, but I don't think they're the ones that are causing it to go all over Westamar per se. They may be trying to collect it, but I would say let's not make any judgments before we can find out more information. And like you said, Wrath, the less we tell people, I think the more that we can go about our business in the way that we can gather an intel about what's all happening before we pass any judgments. I think we should all be open to potentials of our minds being changed, but I think now's not the time to go place some blame just yet.
Wrath, do not mistake my manners towards Madame von Baden as me looking up to her or familiarity. I'm aware of her family name. She is of royalty in Westamar.
Correct.
And
nobility, not
nobility.
Royalty.
Okay.
Nobility.
She is of nobility within Westamar. So she deserves the respect. Rule number 28 is manners maketh the man. So I am always cordial when I have the opportunity to be, but I have yet to determine whose side the Von Badens are on. So until such a time that we have answers, it is best to play nice so that we can continue the conversation and get the answers we need.
I agree.
That is agreeable. I guess my knowledge is of the academy, but if the academy is buying and selling delirium as freely as she is, they are just merely different names for the same thing.
One thing that you do know, Wrath, is the academy is buying it. Because you do know that the academy is buying, but what the academy sells is not raw delirium.
That's like the stones and the maybe like weapons from it, or like potions. Gotcha.
Yep.
Now, Wilhelm, just to keep in mind, I like your rule about trusting, not making judgments. But don't forget, there's another saying that a wolf is no less a wolf because they're dressed in sheep's skin. And a devil is no less a devil because they're dressed as an angel. So just keep your mind open. Keep your ears open. And we'll see where they sit.
Good point.
The way she described Ashafen as a community that doesn't, go outside of their own, it was almost as if she was describing Tierhaven. If she had known where we had come from, would she have had the same warm approach, if it not for our valuable information about delirium?
She may have had a point about Ashafen, but it might also come from a place where she might, as a nobility figure, have opinions on the smaller surrounding villages. So, again, we should play nice, but everybody keep your eye, or multiple eyes if you have them, and ears open.
I think it is worth keeping our mission and our collection of delirium, I feel that if certain members of this land know that we are in possession of delirium, they might find us more valuable.
I also think that as long as we continue to do what is right and follow this path, and whether the Academy has ulterior motives or not, the fact is that these people did need our help, and we were here to help them. And if we can continue to do that, then it is a good thing.
Agreed.
Will you pass the night from there?
I think
Yes.
Okay. In the morning,
Rest.
Stefan, Donovan's brother, and several other of the townsfolk, when you rise, along with the Flamekeeper, in the morning, when you set out, Donovan comes forward with Stefan and Flamekeeper Dana, and they say, "We here in Tierhaven," Donovan says, "we don't have a lot.
Schaffberg.
We here in Schaffberg, pardon me, I'm getting my own towns mixed up. We here in Schaffberg don't have a lot. But what we do have was almost entirely taken away from us. Our families and our lives and our freedoms. And you guys came and you saved us. So we put it all together and, well, Gert's got the best stables for miles around. And we know that you're going to be on the road again. So turns around and several of the others bring up 3 horses. They're strong, tall, proud horses, set with bits and set with fresh saddles, and you can see that it looks like a bowyer has made a beautiful bow for each of you and set up a bunch of arrows on each of them, and like, because there's still local hunters, so like the hunters have put together some arrows and bows and given you those supplies. And the Flamekeeper, she says, we don't have much either to offer. We have very simple things, and much of the reliquaries have been emptied, but she does offer you 3 potions of greater healing, and the town altogether, with the horses and the potions and the supplies, they set you up with their provisions and everything. And if there's anything else equipment wise that you need, they don't have martial weapons and they don't have medium and heavy armor here in the town. So if there's anything like that you're looking for, they're not going to have it. But if there's anything out, they say if there's anything that you need before you go, you just ask, and if we can give it, it's yours.
You mentioned that you don't have medium or heavy armor, but my leather armor is a little waterlogged from multiple adventures through the swamp. I've been interested in hopefully seeing, as I'm now seeing more danger than I ever have before, is there perchance studded leather that I can buy, something a little more protective?
Yeah, they're opening up what they had in the garrison. They have a few reinforced gambesons plated with leather. It's studded leather doesn't actually exist, but it's effectively studded leather. So okay. It's a good gambeson, bolted gambeson that they offer you, and with a jerkin and everything, and you're free to take that as well.
Wonderful.
Very sweet of them.
Thank you so much. Your kindness. Is there anything that you need? Like, if there's anything that you need to keep, please, by all means. I thank you for these kindnesses, and it will help us on our journeys. And
it's all we can give. These horses are pretty young, so you can give them a name of your own too. And I'll leave it up to the 3 of you to describe what the horses look like, and anything you can describe that as you all wish. But they offer you the horses, and they are also able to scrounge together a small purse that they insist that you take of 100 gold pieces. that they offer you to take on your way as well.
33 each.
33 each.
I'm gonna give them money.
I mean, we did bring back all of their treasure, so I mean, we might need it.
And we'll each take one of the healing potions.
Yeah.
And I added a horse. A riding horse.
These are very fine horses, so they're the equivalent of a war horse.
Ooh. Oh gosh, what shall I name
That
it?
is
Can we have
very
the week
kind
to
of you.
think about how they look and what their names are?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Fun.
Yeah.
So are we nicer to this horse than it was to the last one?
Mm-hmm. And as
the last 7.
Yeah. And the last things that you are left with as you depart from Schaffberg is a letter bearing the seal of the House von Baden that will grant you entrance to the city and passage and safe passage from Drensman to Castle Badensburg. So that where the von Baden estate is, one of Verona von Baden's men brings that for you, Linus has not yet received an update from the Amethyst Academy, except to confirm that River sends her regards and will see you in Dransmond.
All right.
Well,
That is where we're
Head out as the sun rises.
onto the road again, I suppose.
Onto the road once again. You set forth, headed to the northwest for Ash Bay via Todsfeld. And we will arrive in Todsfeld next time. Good stuff. That's where we'll end for the night.
Got a horse.
Survived.
Horse.
Yeah. Temperament. Temporary names. Pete the horse.
Yeah.
Pretty.
I'm going to be thinking about mine.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good. With the horses, if you press the horses, you could probably make it there in 3, maybe 4 days. So I leave it up to you all to decide how fast of a pace you want to make towards Todsfeld. But it'll get you to the shore much faster, and you'll have the opportunity to decide how you want to proceed. But we'll see what happens next week when we get to Todsfeld at the very least.
The faster we ride, the more d6s we roll. Is that a
Indeed.
fair?
Indeed. Sounds good to me. Alrighty. Well, with that, as always, as we wrap up, a big thank you to our whole team, Jill, Kelly, and Joe, for playing an awesome game tonight.
And a huge thank you to Kyle for keeping things on track in the chat there. And also a huge thank you to our Dungeon Master, Monty Martin, for running a phenomenal game. We finally got a little bit of a rest and relaxation with, a horrible church scene in the middle of it. But there was almost a couple days of rest and relaxation before setting out again. So thank you for giving us that, and another great episode.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Monty. And again, in our game tonight, we use a variety of incredible assets produced by talented artists. We want to give a big shout out to these people. They have graciously given us their permission to use these assets in our stream games, but you can use them at your table as well. We encourage you to check out and support these amazing creators. Roll20 for the virtual tabletop. We have battle maps by Alex Vendara of Neutral Party and Ross McConnell of 2 Minute Tabletop, custom maps created using Dungeon Fog and Wonder Draft. We have player character artwork by Jeremy Cole. We have NPC token artwork by Matthias Bourbon. We have monster token artwork from the D&D 5e Monster Manual and other source books. Special effects tokens by Gabriel Picard, and music by Tabletop Audio. So thank you to all. And check them out. Guys, they're really great, and we use them, so you should use them too.
Don't forget to look at the links below for our Teespring store, where you can find all of your favorite Dungeon Dudes t-shirts, including Dusk Wardens and way bigger than ducks, but also some classics from Dungeons of Drakkenheim, like Yes, Yes, Yes and Troll Killer. Check out bit.ly/Dungeon Dudes merch.
The videos and the live stream that we create here on both here on Twitch and on YouTube and out on the podcast platforms are made possible thanks to the incredible generosity and support of our Patreon supporters. A big thank you to all of our patrons. Standing ovation for all of you for helping us keep the lights on and keep this whole show running. If you do enjoy the work that we create, please consider becoming a patron of our show. You can find all the details of how to do that at patreon.com/dungeon_dudes. Links are also in the description below.
Also, keep in mind that we have a phenomenal Discord community that is exclusive for our patrons. So you can join us on there, where we like to chat about the latest episodes of Drakkenheim. There's a behind-the-scenes chat where you can talk to Monty specifically without the three of us knowing and ask him questions about Drakkenheim. And you can talk to us about our episodes and all of that. You can also partake in our monthly writer's room, where patrons get to help us develop the scripts for future episodes. And you can also submit questions to our monthly Q&As through the Discord and Patreon as well. So if you join us on Patreon, make sure to get in on all of those goodies and join us on Discord.
Yeah, I think the writer's room is next Monday, actually.
Next Monday, yes.
Yep. Awesome. And of course, even if you can't join us on Patreon and Discord, we post new videos every other Tuesday and every Thursday on our YouTube channel for free for everybody to enjoy, where we cover everything Dungeons and Dragons, including advice for dungeon masters and guides for players. What are we putting out this week, Kelly?
This week we are doing the magic items, the top magic items for wizards, warlocks, and sorcerers.
Yeah. We grouped all the arcane spellcasters together, and we picked our top 5 magic items for each of those. That was actually a really, really fun one. So whether you're making a wish list for your next character or trying to pick some good treasure for your player characters, check that out when that drops on Thursday. Yeah, and beyond that, it's all on YouTube at youtube.com/dungeondudes.
And be sure to join us live next Tuesday when we record the campaign live on Twitch. Check us out from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/dungeon_dudes. And you can watch all the previous episodes of this campaign and the previous ones on our YouTube channel as well.
Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time in the shadows of Drakkenheim.